If you're on a journey to go ahead and simplify your life, you're probably looking at all aspects of your life, from your work life, home life, family life, even your personal life, and really taking a good look at it. Now, in this video today, I want to share with you 10 things I stopped doing or quit at work that's helped me improve my life and just overall given me a greater sense of, I don't know, well-being. If this sounds interesting to you, go ahead and click the like button, but you can also use these tips and these things that I've shared as inspiration for yourself. You don't have to go and implement them straight away, but definitely take a look and see whether they apply to you. Be sure to stick around until the end because I have one quote for you that will really just give you some perspective and give you a bit of a aha moment, shall we say. Let's get into the video. The first thing I did was I quit my job. Just like the thumbnail shows, I quit my job. Yes, I quit my job because it was too stressful. I realized that I was working a crazy amount of hours, not being rewarded for it, and I just felt completely overwhelmed and trapped in that job. It was a good job, it was great, but I was managing a huge team. I wasn't getting financially compensated for the fact that I was managing a large team, shall I say. But it just felt too overwhelming. I couldn't sleep. I would lie in bed and run to-do lists through my head. I've shared videos on that multiple times. I would literally wake up out of my sleep and be thinking about work and things that I had to do. And I was thinking to myself, that can't be normal. That's not normal. So I realized that I had to change jobs and find something that actually suited my life. Not just necessarily a job that I can get paid, but it had to be a job that was really worked for me and my family and the life that I want to live. And that was definitely not a stressful job. The other thing I quit doing is I quit stressing about being on time for work. I think it's something in our DNA, right? We've got to be on time, we've got to be there. And yes, I recognize that I've got to be there on time and show up and be on time, but I'm not going to stress about it. If I'm running late, I'm running late. I'll make up the extra time and maybe I'll stay a little bit later. It was a real mindset shift for me. Like, it's not the end of the world if I'm 10 minutes late. And I know subconsciously in the back of our minds, or you may have this as well. I know that I've struggled with this, thinking that, oh, well, everyone's going to see that I'm late, or they've seen that I've come in late, or they're going to start judging me. And most of the time, they're not even thinking that, right? It's just in our minds that we're like having that conversation with ourselves. But actually, it's not always applicable. It's different if you're in a role where you actually have to clock in at a certain time, you know, and that kind of stuff. But if you're working in an office, yes, you might be 10 minutes late. Maybe there's traffic. You know, I know that I would get caught in that spiral. Like if I was in traffic and I was stuck there, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be late for work, blah, blah. If I'm late for work, I'm late for work, whatever. I'll make up the time some other way. Because I know that the work that I do when I am there is killer. And you can't question me on my work whatsoever. I quit taking on other people's work. Like, I really had to push back. Now, this wasn't easy by any stretch, but I really had to have a good conversation about actually what's within my remit, what am I supposed to be doing, you know, and really take a look at my job description or have it adjusted. Because I found that I was taking on other people's work and it was just driving me crazy and making me feel more stressed because I would know that I would have a deliverable or something that I had to do. And then on top of that, someone else is giving me a piece of work or asking advice. Oh, what do you think about this? Or what are your thoughts on this? And then you'd happily give your thoughts and then they'll say something along the lines like, oh my goodness, you're really good at this, or this looks like it's something that you can do. Can you do it for me? Or not do it for, they wouldn't say do it for me in some directly, but they would say, oh, would you be able to finish this off? Or something crazy along those lines, insert line. Like, I'm sure you've heard it many times before, but it was really a skill that I had to like flex and use that muscle to try and resist and push back. I was constantly having to do that, but it meant that at the end of it, I was just more at peace and be like, I ain't gonna worry about your troubles. Your urgency is not my urgency, girlfriend, and I ain't falling into that trap and trying to overwork myself like a crazy person. And I would always go back to my manager and say, actually, this is something that someone has said or they want me to do or action or look at. Is this a priority for us to work on? If it's not, ain't my problem. I quit feeling like I had to prove myself. I realized probably about 2 or 3 years ago that I don't need to prove myself anymore. I don't want to keep climbing up the career ladder. I don't want to be a director of something. I don't want to be the executive of blah, blah, blah. Like that at this season of life, that is not my priority. I'm just not interested. And I think it'll do the same for you, allow you just to breathe easier and be like, I'm just going to work. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my job. And there's that whole thing that was going around, I think just after COVID, of quiet quitting. And I was like, I'm here for it. So if you haven't heard of quiet quitting, is basically a movement or a way of life where people literally just go in and they show up and they do their job and they go home. That's it, which is what it should be anyway to start with. Like, I can't believe this is a whole thing where people are thinking like, oh my God, you're just going in to do your job. Yeah, I'm going in to do my job. That's it. Like, I'm not here to over prove myself and over deliver so that then I get stressed. And then as a result, my family gets stressed as well. Like, I'm not here. That is not the life and the vibe I am going for in this season of life. I honestly, as you know, want to keep things simple, incredibly simple, so that I'm not having to feel like I'm a stressed out, crazy lady. Now, if you're wondering who I am, I forgot to introduce myself earlier. My name is Jay, and this channel is all about fighting for simplicity. I really focus on helping full-time working mums just like yourself really stop feeling like a functional hot mess and thinking that it's a badge of honor, so that you can actually focus on the things that matter. So we cover decluttering, organization, simplifying tips and hacks, or whatever you want to call it, to really just live a simple life. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more. Now, this is a good one, that I quit having a full inbox. Now, I don't have any tips or hacks or anything to share with you, or screen recordings, anything like that, but I quit having a full inbox. I actually went through one day and I just highlighted the whole thing. I think there was something like 3,000 emails in there, and I archived the whole lot. I just archived it. I didn't delete it. I just archived it, and I just put it all away to one side. Then I set up some rules inside of my e-box. You know the emails that come through from work, right? The email threads where you have been CC'd in on something. And I just kept thinking to myself, I don't necessarily need to read those emails. Like, I'm just either CC'd on them for visibility or for my awareness or something like that. So I set up a filter inside of my inbox where any email where I am CC'd in goes straight to that folder and I don't even see it. Then when I want to go inside and check, then I can go in and have a look. Oh my goodness, it's been a savior. In addition to that, when emails do come through, I may read them and I instantly delete if I don't need to do anything with it, or I don't need that email. I'll delete it. If it's something where I need to either go back and I'm waiting for a response, I'll just go back and I'll just archive it. I don't need to see the email again, because I found that when I was looking inside of my inbox, I'd see all of these emails and I'll go back and reread them or something like that. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't need that. I haven't created a whole heap of different folders or anything like that. I've literally just gone back and just go in and I'll just archive it. In addition to that as well, I created one folder, and that one folder is a decisions folder, i.e. decision that's been made on something, you know, they've put a bow in it. This is what we're going to do to move forward. Great. Decisions folder. Done. Bye. See you next time. That's it. So much simpler. It meant that I just don't have to re-look and keep overlooking at my inbox. Oh, true godsend. Now, MS Teams. Shall we talk about it? Oh, Lord. Like, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Like, I know you know. I do love it for the communication aspect. You know, everyone's working different locations, remotely, whatever it is, and allows us to communicate. But it also means that you hear that noise all the goddamn time. I just cannot with that noise. Ting, ting, ting. Go away. Everyone leave me alone. So what I found is, and one thing that I have quit, is I quit having it open all the time. I just closed it. And with that comes with that fear of like, oh, well, everyone's going to think that I'm offline and, you know, that maybe I'm not doing my job or whatever. I don't care. Like, I've let go of the feeling of what are people going to think, or is it going to be an issue? I informed my manager and just said, this is how I'm using Teams. Have you got a problem with that? Is it a concern of yours? You know, that kind of thing. And she's like, no, it's cool, whatever. whatever. As long as you get the work done, I actually don't care. So I'd have it open in the morning, check a few things, maybe leave it open for an hour or so, and then close it. Open it again at around 12 p.m. and then open it again towards the end of the day to catch up on anything that I've missed out on. I felt like that noise was giving me anxiety. I honestly did. Does anyone else have that same feeling? Like, I just felt like it was too much for me. This next one is that I've quit is meetings. Meetings. Like, there's a meeting for everything, even just a quick catch up, and I think it's because, well, we've gone back, some are back in the office, some are still working from home, and that whole kind of water cooler conversation has now disappeared and now been replaced with meetings. So I quit having as many meetings as I needed to. I know with my team, I would just make sure that we would just have a one-on-one each week if we needed to, and make sure that we were either in the office at the same time or we would actually go out and we'd walk and talk at the same time. I was like, I just can't be in teams, as I shared in the last point, all the time. It's just driving me nuts. I can't do this. So really making sure that we have that time where we're both in the office at the same time, so we don't have to have a meeting per se, but we have allocated that time for us to actually sit down and have a chat. Oh my goodness, it's been huge. But even then, just reassessing and looking at, actually, do I need to be in that meeting, or do I need to be a part of that conversation? Can they let me know once it's done? Because you know how it is. You get into some of those, inside of some of those meetings, and you sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, and you're like, could have been an email, could have been a 2-line email. And I just thought to myself, I need to put some boundaries in place, and I can't keep letting it be dictated by work that I have to attend this one. No, sometimes I'd even lie and say I'm in a meeting, I can't attend. It's just terrible, but it's just so that I didn't have them. And I'll just say, can you send me the notes after the meeting? Oh my goodness. Cheeky, but I had to do it. I quit sacrificing my lunch break. I honestly quit sacrificing it. And what do I mean by that? I mean not having a lunch break. You have an hour for lunch, or for yourself, it might be 30 minutes or 45, whatever it is, or have multiple breaks throughout the day, however that looks for you. But for myself, it's like an hour for lunch. And I just quit sacrificing it. I was just either in a meeting during my lunch break, or I would be having my lunch sitting at my desk whilst I'm in a meeting, microphone off, eating my lunch. And I was like, this is not healthy. This is not a look that I'm going for right now. So I really had to reassess that and just put some real boundaries in place. I am going to take my hour's lunch break. And so when I'm working from home, you'll see that even today, just before recording this video, I had my lunch in the kitchen and I was just dancing. I was just dancing to some music. I normally do that anyway because it puts me in the right spirit and ready to record. But I was just dancing in the kitchen, just, having a good time. And I just taking that time to either sit outside or go for a walk or be away from your desk, and being away from my own desk is just really has changed how I show up throughout the rest of the day. And I found that I don't kind of get into that, like energetic slump, around 2-3 o'clock. It means that I'm feeling in a better mood and I'm just feeling myself. I'm just not feeling so stressed out and feel just great. Now, these last two that I want to share kind of go together. The last one is I quit staying late at work. And it kind of goes back to that thing of that I mentioned earlier, quiet quitting or whatever it is. And I didn't even realize that I'm doing it, but I suppose I am in some ways. I just made sure that I'm not staying late at work. I quit staying late. In my previous job, it felt like I was always staying late because I really wanted to make sure that this gets done, and I want to make sure that it's right for the team and they've got everything that they need so they can go ahead and do their work. But as a result, I was the one that was staying late and they've already gone home for the day. And I was like, this is not right, because I was in meetings all day and I didn't have any time to actually do my proper work, my actual work. So I thought, we need to boundaries, give you back your bounce. And I just had to put some in place. So I just quit staying late. And the reason is because my kids have more after school activities than they used to. And as a result as well, the job that I have now allows me a little bit more flexibility to make sure that I can go and take them to their soccer practice, swimming, whatever it is, and have that time with them. Because my family comes first. So with that as well, I also quit prioritizing work over my family. I feel like in past jobs and past roles that I've had, I always put my work first because I was trying to get up the career ladder and I wanted to, show everyone that I can do this. I have not got time. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, my family mean more to me because it just wasn't worth it. So I made sure that I put my family as a priority, which I have done, as you can see from what I've shared, that really quitting these things inside of my work also meant that I was able to prioritize what matters and prioritize my family. So I do want to leave you with one last tip or quote or whatever you want to call it. And just remember that work is just work. That's it. It's just work. So if you're thinking about simplifying your life or looking for ways to go about simplifying even specifically your work, just remember it's just a job at the end of the day. It's just a job. It's not the be all and end all at all, because you really need to focus on the things that matter to be able to have the life that you want and to live a simpler life. And that for me is the chef's kiss. I can't whistle. Anyway. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed recording it for you today. Go ahead and give this video a like and a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, all about simplifying your life. Oh, and you can definitely check out one of these two videos that YouTube has recommended. You definitely should go ahead and watch. Keep fighting for simplicity, gorgeous, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.